Hey, so welcome to the show. Isa, we're going to talk about AAVE today, and we're very happy to have you on the show. We want you to talk about yourself, the project, etc., and we want you to reach the masses in India. And one of our goals is to explain the Indian masses about crypto, explain about new projects which are coming in the market, how people can get involved, what this technology is all about. They can get involved in multiple ways, support the project, they can be investors, or they can even build careers. Means a good advantage about India is that we have good internet connectivity, we have a great connectivity using phones. It's a massive country. So we take that opportunity to talk about their project. So in that aspect, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Nitin. Really happy to be here.
Great. So let's start with a quick introduction. We want to know a little bit more about yourself. So give us a quick intro about yourself, please.
Cool. Yes. Hi, I'm Isa. I'm head of marketing at AAVE. I'm one of the major DeFi players in the space. And before AAVE, I worked on a blockchain and streetwear fashion project startup. And that's kind of how I got involved in the Ethereum space and the blockchain space. And then I discovered DeFi. So now at AAVE.
Yeah, it's very interesting word, right? DeFi. It's actually challenging the status quo of the banking in the true sense. And I think what we've seen specifically in India, that the banking has evolved very fast, but this one is a leap forward, right? It's a giant leap forward from here. So very nice to hear about you, and also to hear about that you've been in the blockchain space for many number of years. Let's talk about AAVE more. So you give us an intro about yourself, about the project. What do you guys think? How do you guys think internally about the project? And then we want to hear from the team about how do they define the product or the project itself. Go ahead, Isa. Over to you.
Definitely. Yeah. So basically the main product of AAVE is the AAVE protocol. And this is an open source and non-custodial protocol where people can earn interest on deposits for cryptocurrencies and borrow other digital assets. So open source means that all the underlying code is behind it is completely publicly available, and non-custodial means that you keep full control over your funds at all times. So a developer at AAVE, for example, can't come in and touch your funds at all. So AAVE is decentralized. This means that it's community governed. The community gets to vote and make decisions about what happens to the protocol next, if any new assets are added, any updates. And also being decentralized means that it doesn't involve any financial intermediaries or middlemen like a bank does. So basically, as a user, you can come in and deposit over 20 kinds of digital assets or cryptocurrencies into the protocol, and then you earn interest on them as they're loaned out to borrowers. And these interest rates are all determined by the borrowing liquidity supply and borrowing demand. So if you've deposited DAI, for example, a popular stablecoin, and many people want to borrow DAI and there's not a whole lot of DAI liquidity available, then the interest rates for depositors will go up and be quite high to incentivize more people to deposit. And then, of course, the other way around, if there's a lot of DAI in the supply and not a lot of borrowing demand, then interest rates for depositors would be lower. But because there's no middleman, this gets rid of all the inefficiencies that you find in the traditional financial system. So interest rates for depositors have historically been higher for AAVE lenders, which is really useful. A lot of users use AAVE just for lending and earning a passive income, kind of like a crypto savings account. And then on the other hand, you can also borrow any asset from the protocol as long as you put up enough collateral in another asset to support your loan position. So all loans are over collateralized. So the value of your collateral has to be higher than the value of the loan that you're taking out. And as long as you maintain enough collateral, you can pay back the loan at any time. So this gives borrowers a lot of flexibility and when and how they pay back the loan. So I always get the question, why would people borrow in AAVE? Because a lot of people see, if you need money and you have an asset, why don't you just sell off that asset? But basically a borrower is anyone who has an asset that has value and they don't want to sell that asset, but maybe you need money to buy a phone, a laptop, or anything. Because if you have ETH, for example, and you don't want to sell your ETH because maybe you think the price of ETH is going to go up, and you can simply use your ETH as collateral, borrow a stable coin, and then use that to buy yourself a laptop or phone or whatever you need. So there's many different use cases.
Yeah. And so if I borrow, do I pay anything additional? Is there an interest rate element as well, right?
Yes, there is. So as a borrower, you have two options for the interest rate. There's a stable one, which is pretty much a fixed rate. And then there's a variable rate, which jumps around more. And as a borrower, you can switch between the two to make sure you always get the best rate. And the other cool part is, though, as a borrower, you've deposited collateral already, and that collateral is earning interest. So part of the interest you'll be earning on that deposit can be used to offset the interest you'll be paying back on the loan.
Oh, that's interesting. So that's actually very, very interesting. And what do you see in the platform? Do you see most of the traders coming in? What is the type of users do you see there in your product?
So I think when we first launched, it was a lot more developers and kind of DeFi natives who are using it for depositing and borrowing. But now we've seen a lot more people coming on just to deposit and earn interest. There's a lot more people using it kind of just to earn passive income and maximize what they can do with their cryptocurrencies.
And it's purely based on demand and supply, the interest rates, right? So if the borrowers are less someday, let's just hypothetically, then the interest rates will go down, right? So there is no involvement of you trying to create the market and go out and get borrowers, and you just keep it simple.
Yes, exactly. There is one tool called a flash loan, which is something AAVE brought to market, and this is really popular for developers. But basically, it lets you borrow without putting up any collateral, as long as you return the liquidity to the pool within one block transaction. And if you don't, then the whole thing gets reversed. So it still ensures that all the funds in the pool are safe. But the cool thing about flash loans is there is a fee for these. There's not a fee for normal loans. But if you do a flash loan, there's a fee of 0.09%. And that goes basically to rewarding depositors. So if someone does a big flash loan, then depositors really benefit and get kind of an extra bump in the interest.
Yeah. And I mean, I know this concept about flash loan, but who is using them? Means why are people borrowing flash loans quickly, right?
Yeah. So flash loans, at this point, it's really developers or people with technical knowledge who can do it. Because a lot of times people are using it for arbitrage. So that involves like writing a lot of bots because you need it to be super fast. It has to be all within one block.
Yeah.
However, there is a tool now for Combo, which kind of lets you like drag and drop do flash loans. So pretty much anyone can do it there. It's a very easy user interface to use. But I think most people are using it primarily for like arbitrage strategies, but there's also been other use cases.
Very nice. Where do you see AAVE going from here?
So from here, I think we're kind of almost on the brink of mainstream adoption right now. I think DeFi is getting a lot of traction, and I think AAVE is like definitely bringing on more mainstream users. Crypto in general is getting a lot more traction in the mainstream. So now people are holding crypto, but they don't really know what they can do with it yet. So DeFi is kind of that next step for people. You can lend, you can borrow. There's actually like a lot more you can do with these coins that you hold. I also think institutional interest in DeFi is growing as well. And that's going to be something very interesting to see.
Yeah. Do you mean just thinking it together with you, do you think that DeFi banks will come in? I mean, do you think that institutions can launch their own bank, but relying only completely on DeFi? I mean, is that what?
I think that is tricky, I guess, because of KYC and regulation. Once all that steps in, then it becomes more centralized. But I do see banks are starting to look at DeFi and kind of take interest in it as a source of liquidity, or maybe as a way to take advantage of their, like, make the most out of their treasuries.
Yeah.
So that
could be. I use the word bank very loosely, means any institution who wants to behave like a financial institutions and provide this to the masses. I mean, it's still there is a barrier to entry, right? You have to be a little bit more tech savvy to get involved. So I think that can be an interesting spin on how things go forward from here. But so another question we come, and what in your world, you are not in India, you are outside. What do you hear about India? What's your view about India and blockchain, vis-a-vis blockchain? What do you hear? Any news, anything? Whatever you hear about it, what's your perception about it?
Yeah. So India is definitely like a community that I think we are not super big in yet by any means, but it's a community that we're really looking at a lot, and also a place where we see lots of promising projects and interesting developers in India. So that's really exciting. And there's been a lot of like hackathons and stuff. We always get really great projects floating on AAVE coming out of India. Yeah. And then of course I also hear a lot of fuss about the government potentially banning cryptocurrencies and everything. So the whole regulatory framework is definitely something that
that keeps coming in in many countries these days, just come and it goes. So it's not, there's no simple answer to it. Means even if I think, do governments have a simple answer? I don't know. I don't think so. It's not as easy, right? Okay, so good.
Yeah.
And if you want to give one message to youngsters in India who are tech savvy and who have internet connectivity and who have the passion to do some stuff around, what would your message be vis-a-vis blockchain and as well, right? So keeping that in mind, what would you talk about? Yeah.
Definitely. I think go for it. Basically, we see, especially like the Indian DeFi community is one with tons of potential. And we've actually been working with like different content creators in the Indian space as well who do content in different localized languages. So that's really cool. I think Aave's early stages in India, but we're really looking to grow there. And I guess the message would be, yeah, just go for it, get into it. The perks of DeFi, like one of the coolest parts is that everything's open source. So if you want to build something, it's very easy. And I think that encourages like the rapid rate of innovation that we see.
Yeah, I think that there are infinite possibilities from here. It means you can define yourself what you want to do, and means you can play around. It's all open source, and you can probably bring about the next billion-dollar company. So that's the world these days. So yeah, good.
Definitely. I mean, we see so many projects that have like come out of a hackathon or something that are now like fully fledged legit companies. So it's really
Yeah,
possibilities are endless.
yeah. Tell us a little bit about how AAVE is structured. Is it like decentralized as a company or as an organization itself, or are you co-located? How do you function in general? So just to know more about your
Yeah.
culture. Yeah.
So Aave is, I guess we're all kind of decentralized around the world. We all work remotely from like many different locations. It's a very global team. And in terms of, so the protocol, I guess, kind of exists separately from the team. And the protocol is very community governed. Like the Aave token holders basically write proposals and vote on proposals. And then this kind of determines what's going to happen to the protocol. So the role of the Aave team in that case is we're kind of the builders. So we basically build what the community wants to see. So it's interesting because yeah, it's I guess tricky to
Yeah.
say DeFi company.
Yeah. Yeah, but so whatever the community wants and whatever the consensus is, that's what is getting built, and it's just that there is no centralized authority to talk about. Hey, I want this. Let's build this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Good. So this is good. I think that there is immense amount of scope which of doing things together along with Aave and India. I think that we have you can see a tremendous amount of growth. The people are eager here, so definitely something to look at. Do you have some Indians in your team? Maybe Indians out of India or anywhere else as well in the Aave team currently?
Let me think. I think we had one person who was based in India, but I'm not so sure if he is anymore. But we do have actually a lot of our ecosystem grants recipients have been Indian based.
Oh, very nice.
Our grants
Very,
program, which is very cool.
very nice. What I've seen is that there have been some investments from Aave itself in Indian companies as well. So that's a good way to also incentivize people to look at Aave, and there are grants and there are investment opportunities which can come through and all sorts of stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's exciting
Aave
time.
CEO Stani is a big angel investor, so he's
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. So I've heard about some of them. So yeah, that's great. So good.
Cool.
Look, so we've heard there's some involvement of Mark Cuban with Aave. So tell us something. What's going on? And very exciting, actually. We're curious to hear.
Yeah, we were very excited about that. I guess Aave CEO Stani's been a big like really into Mark Cuban, big fan for a while. But we actually didn't know that he held Aave or anything until we saw on Reddit that Mark Cuban stakes Aave. So that was that was really cool.
Yeah. Okay. So it was like he decided himself.
Oh
And
yeah. We didn't know until we saw
yeah,
he
good.
posted it. So that was
Oh,
super
right.
exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, these days it's good and bad about open source. You don't know who is holding it, and it is also, if you get to know that this wallet belongs to somebody, then everybody knows what all is he holding? So very nice.
Yeah.
Good. Very nice. We're happy, very happy. We'll keep it small and short. Thank you for the bite. We have a massive job to do it, to translate it and circulate it within the community. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's really fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you.